little
in the
controversial, yeah. And one of the throws that Murao hit, I thought was a score, but then they looked at it and they said, okay, the back didn't hit. 18, so it's lower 18%. A little bit.
Although you could even argue that it's a little lower, but
what is the standard deviation?
I don't know. I don't have that, unfortunately.
Come on, Peter.
So why do you think people had this perception that judo was overly decided by shido?
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Shintaro Higashi Show with Peter Yu. Today we're going to do part 2 of the Olympic Games in Paris. I know it's been already weeks since it wrapped up, but we just have not been able to coordinate. And we're doing part 1, and then my kid walked in, and I had to go, and it was like one of those things. But part 2, here it is.
Part two. Yeah. So last time we ended with Deguchi and Homimi, like the gold medal match, and whatnot. But now we're gonna start. Let's start with Abe Hifumi.
Abe Hifumi and Uta also, the siblings.
I mean, we talked about Uta last time, like the heartbreaking loss. And then I think after that, like, because Abe Uta fought first, right? Like, so Abe, like he had an extra like bit of motivation, I think.
Yeah, for sure. But man, that's got to be brutal. Like, you're out there, you're like warming up, and then or whatever it is, and you know, it's like you're there, and then your sister loses, and she's like, "Oh my god!" And then he's like,
"Yeah, I know."
Like, I gotta get out there too. Like, what? I gotta get out there. Like, I gotta stay focused. You know, I want to be there for her, right? And I'm sure he was, but like, that's got to be awkward.
You know? I know, and then it was. I think it kind of goes to show how tough he is mentally, I guess, because it could have really affected him. You know,
I'm sure it did. I mean, you know, but man, I gotta tell you though, he is unbelievable. He is exceptional. Yeah. He ripped through the division. He's at the right weight class. His size, strength, the way he does judo, his Sode Osoto combination, the way he grips and then takes the hands off, the way he's defensive with the hands, like pushing the hands down and then going back up. He rips the hand to the side and enter. Like, all his entries, all his setups, they're so on point. No one can really stop him right now with that. You know, what else is there to even say about it? You know,
really, he basically did what everyone expected him to do. I mean, he really perfected his game. It's crazy how he keeps doing that Sode to Osoto stuff, even though everyone knows that he's gonna do.
I mean, it's that classic dilemma, right? It's like he starts setting up the wrist and starts ripping at it, or defensively, like he has a couple of good gripping setups. That's where all it begins. You know, you have to shut it down before they even get to that place. And if he cannot do that, he'll wait for the hand to come and he'll catch it. And then once he catches it, he steps across and then throws the arm across. And now already it's like it's your best. It's whoever's best guess. Osoto or Sode.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then he also has the Morote off the lapel. Like, he's very.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of depth. He brings the elbow. Yeah.
I think truthfully, Maruyama has more depth. You know, in terms of the way he enters Uchimata, the way he does a lot more techniques, he has a lot more patterns. You know, his techniques it's a very different style, right?
Yeah.
It's a classic Katsugi-ke, which is lifting on your back, and then the lengthy, Osto Uchimata kind of style. Right. I forgot what that style was called in Japanese, but
I mean, I'm sure they push each other up like that. I mean, what a rivalry, right? Yeah. Kind of feel bad for Maruyama, but here's what it is.
So Hifumi destroyed it. He destroyed it. He crushed everyone. No one had an answer. What's the next recapping point?
Yeah. So speaking of the unfortunate athlete, I think Hashimoto.
Yeah.
Because he's still an amazing judoka, but he had always been overshadowed by Ono in the same weight class. Yeah. And now Ono's retired. Hashimoto got another shot.
Yeah.
And now he couldn't even make it to the Olympics before because of Ono, but now he made it and fought his way through bronze. I'm sure he probably wanted the gold.
You know, man, I saw him at Worlds.
Yeah.
And he gets caught a lot. I'm telling you, he gets caught a lot. I've seen him at other Grand Slams and stuff. He gets caught, gets favorable calls sometimes. I mean, everyone kind of does, but he gets caught, But what I do like about Hashimoto's style is he's not shy about forcing penalties.
Yeah,
he plays the game really well. He pressures forward. He'll force the guy out of bounds. He'll look at the referee and go like this with his hands up. Yeah. Kind of like has a little bit of arrogance to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way
where he's like, oh, you know.
Yeah.
And then he has a little bit of that from Ono, I think. And those two guys used to really push each other, and it's like a leaked over effect. It's like a residual effect. You know, they're very similar style. The way they look at the ref, like, oh, what the hell is this? And then when he's pushing forward, and then they can't really do much, and they go for a bad drop attack, he'll posture up, and they'll be like, oh, look at this guy dropping and flopping. You know, so he does play the game really good, and you know he's also a great thrower, but he gets caught. You know, I've seen him get caught with big Sasai, and you know.
What do you think that is? Is he not focusing on his grips, or is it easier for people to figure him out? Like compared to Ono, like Ono doesn't
Ono's
get caught
so dominant. Yeah, Ono's so dominant, and Ono's one of those guys. It's like when he gets his dominant grip, it's over. And even when you have dominant grips like that over the back, you know, topside head control, he puts the hand in the armpit and he does the spinning back Uchimata or Tomonaga.
He rips also Togari too.
Yeah, and he has 3 or 4 attacks from losing positions as well. That's very powerful. That's not even like a bailout attack. The only thing that could potentially be considered a bailout attack that he does, I'm specifically talking about right versus right when he's in losing position, is that Tomonage that he does, the crossbody Tomonage. But outside of that, he's trying to throw you from losing position. He's mastered that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I don't know if Hashimoto has that kind of a skill, you know, and a lot of guys don't. A lot of guys can only throw from winning position, you know, and even the best guys, a lot of guys, when they're losing position, they have a couple of bailout throws, and, you know, that's about it. But Ono really, he has 3 or 4 throws that he could throw you with from losing position. So it's like, all right, you know, damned if I outgrip him, and damned if I don't. You know, it's horrible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess Hashimoto, he goes for that one-handed sore.
He does.
It's like,
he does. Yeah.
But that's not really like a losing position throw. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, there was that. And then, I don't know if you watched this, but next up is I want to talk to you about Heydarov and Gaba. Like, it's a gold medal match. It was a 5 minutes and 24-second golden score match. That was after the end, like, it was brutal. Like, they were out.
That's a long time. That's like a 10-minute match, you know. In judo, to not get stalled out, penaltied out, but 10 minutes is a very difficult feat.
They were both on 2 shidos and never got called until Heydarov like kind of like did like a kosotogari kind of thing. Yeah, like kind of pushed him down. Yeah, pushed him down to the ground. I mean, Gaba couldn't even stand up after that. It was, that's well, but it was an amazing match. I think the next one I thought was good was Nagase. I mean, another one that kind of still dominant. Dominant. Did you catch? I don't know if you watched the final, but he actually went Tani Otoshi the other way. Like it was like
with the knee drop, the knee that slides behind the other person's leg. Extremely dangerous. I had
never seen him do that. Yeah.
No. And, you know, it's becoming more popular. I've seen it 3 or 4 times, and it's, you know, when you like, you know, you take a drop step in wrestling where your knee goes to the floor?
Yeah.
You're doing that into the person's leg and sliding that knee down the back of their calf. So a lot of things can go wrong. I don't suggest anyone in the dojo who's doing judo at a recreational level to do it, because it's going to be a disaster. You know, Tani Toshi already is dangerous, but now you're trying to like scrape the knee and drive your way down the person's leg. You're going to have knee issues. You're going to break someone's leg. You're going to fucking destroy their ankle. You know, so I don't really recommend it, you know, if you're listening to it, but check it out. It's pretty cool to watch. That might be sort of like the new thing that people are going to start doing internationally. You know, whenever an Olympic champ does something that's kind of semi-unique, you know?
Yeah.
The knee drop behind into the uranage has been already popular. Everyone in Kokushikan's already drilling it.
Yeah.
But
really?
Yeah. But it's like this specific Tani Otoshi he did was great, you know?
Because I think it was an answer to... Because I forget who was in the final against Nagase, but... Because Nagase is known for his ashiwaza, like with he's very tall and long, so he goes osoto and then ashiguruma and all that. So I'm assuming that everyone was hip checking him, so he decided to go the other way.
Yeah. You know what I like about Nagase too? He does an uchimata, doesn't rely on his height at all. If you see his uchimata, his leg never gets above his hips.
Because he's like he's so good with the leverage. I mean, he's like ashiguruma, uchimata almost look the same. I feel like.
Yeah. He doesn't really rely on his like mobility and his leg. Because a lot of that, when you think Uchimata, you think like tall guy, long legs, 6 o'clock, leg in the sky kind of a thing. Not like that at all.
Yeah.
Which I love that. I love that. Because a short guy could theoretically do it then.
Yeah. Maybe you should make a video. You probably have one.
Probably.
Like this.
Yeah. I mean, I have short legs, so I'm not very mobile.
Yeah, I have short legs too. I had to do something like that too.
Yeah.
All right. So there was Nagase, and then the next was that was notable to me was Murao and Bekauri. It's kind of a controversial match.
A little controversial, yeah. I thought, but when they slowed down the replay, because they were tied, yeah. And one of the throws that Murao hit, I thought was a score, but then they looked at it and they say, okay, the back didn't hit.
Yeah.
Or like he got out and then came back.
Yeah.
But then very end, Murao like went in for something.
Tiny otoshi, and then Bekauri did like a half leg sasai.
Yeah, and then like caught the foot, and then they gave it to him. The referees made their decision. I think it's fine, but man, Murao's a champ. Both of those guys champs,
Yeah. I mean, Murao already won, right? Like in Tokyo, I think it took gold.
I think so. Yeah.
Well, anyway, there's a little bit of controversy there. I thought it was like a
look at Reddit. It's like tons of controversy of like everyone's talking about shidos and penalties and the referees.
Yeah.
But you have an interesting statistic that you pulled.
Yeah. So So now I think we kind of want to focus on this aspect, like kind of like the stats. So there was an amazing post by Dr. Seo Inage, not me. I didn't know skills to do this. I'll look into the description, but he compiled all these very interesting stats. So let's start with this. What do you think was the top technique in the Olympics? The top scoring technique.
All right, let's do this. Is it Kataguma, Seoinage, Uchimata? Did I hit it?
Yeah, you hit it.
Okay. Kataguma.
No, it was a drop Seo Toshi. He classified as 39. And then the next one is Yokoshio Gatame, 31, so it's not really a throw.
But I gotta tell you about some of the statistics though, right? So like Seo Otoshi, so time you drop, right? So it can be considered like sometimes, even if it's not like a clear Kataguma like ripping it, it may be classified as Seo Otoshi, like if you go reverse or whatever it is. And then sometimes, even if it's Soretsuri Komigoshi, if you drop to your knees, it could be considered Seo Otoshi. Did you know if you go for the triangle choke turnover, the Sankaku turnover, some people used to call it Sankaku Gatame, like a hold down with the triangle, but that's also considered Yokoshio Gatame, according to the thing.
I wonder, I don't know the methodology here.
So it's like the way they code certain things to trigger certain, numerical values, like those things you got to kind of look at that. And the only reason why I know that is because when I would go commentate on the IJF, I would say things like, drop Seoinage, and they go, drop Tayatoshi. They go, no. Like, when you're taking these statistics, you can't just make up new names.
They want you to use the canonical form.
It's got to be the canonical form from the Kodokan list. So, if you do Tayatoshi, but you're dropping, and then it's like, regardless of elbow position, they're going to consider it Seo Otoshi.
I see. So, a lot of things fall under Seo Otoshi.
So a lot of more things fall under Seo Otoshi as opposed to an Osotogari is a freaking Osotogari. There's not a lot of, you know what I mean? Because
so you're saying the drop taio could also be is classified as Seo Otoshi?
I'm not certain, but that's my assumption. So that's my guess. Okay, I didn't clarify this with anyone. I'm almost certain, based on my own opinion.
Yeah. Well,
that would be it's my best guess. It's my best guess. So don't quote me on this, seriously.
Yeah.
And if you guys don't agree with me, it's fine. Put it in.
Well, maybe maybe that was like a quirk in the how they classify things. I mean, like Seo Otoshi could a lot of things. I mean, it kind of goes to show the versatility of the throw, right? Like, there's so many ways to like finish it.
Yeah.
That look completely different.
Yeah.
But anyway, so there was that, and the next most popular throw was Ouchigari, and next was Uchimata.
Okay.
So
those
things are pretty.
Seoinage system on my higashibrand.com. You can buy Uchimata, and And you could also buy the Ochi Uchimata system on NagashiBrand.com, just so you guys know.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe we'll link it down here.
Yeah, everyone's having so much success with those throws.
Yeah.
You know, so there's that, and then okay, now I think the meaty part, the Shida.
This is the juicy part. Okay.
The juicy part. So I'm not gonna reveal the stats yet, but if you look at Reddit, like during the Olympics, man, like every other post was about how judo is ruined now. It's all shido game and all.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was a perception for some.
Yeah.
But now, do you know like what's the like for the worlds?
Yeah.
What the percentage of the wins by shido, like third shido?
No.
Do you remember?
I don't.
So I think what I heard is about 20% of the matches were decided by third shido.
So 1 out of 5 matches decided by the referees. Or
that's
not,
like the tip.
I shouldn't say decided by the referees, but they were penalized.
Penalized, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And guess what it was for the Olympics?
I mean, you already told me, so I know.
Yeah. So it's 18%, which is
18. Okay.
Yeah, typical.
Yeah.
It was.
I thought you said 20.
Well, so that's like the average. What I heard is like about 20% of the matches on average is in the international circuit is decided by third shido, and Olympics was not different at all.
18. So it's lower.
18%. Although you could even argue that it's a little lower. But
what is the standard deviation?
I don't know. I don't have that, unfortunately.
Come on, Peter. You're the data guy, dude.
But I would assume that 2%. I mean, the standard deviation will. It's like. It's not the difference.
1.8.
Not, but
let's say plus or minus 1.8.
Significant. Yeah, my educated guess is that it's not a significant difference. You know,
you think so?
To say that the Olympics was lower than other tournaments. Like
I would say it would be because the referees are a little bit more cautious about deciding the matches.
Oh, you think?
So they'll be a little bit more lenient. It would be my guess. You know. So
not
I mean, how much could it?
Shidos. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how much could it really range? You know, like what is the?
Yeah. You know I don't know. I have no idea. So maybe I'll if you're watching this, Dr. Serenage, maybe you are. It'd be great if you could get some like more statistical like. Details like standard deviation and whatnot, but there's it's about the same, if not lower. So why do you think people had this perception that judo was overly decided by shido? It's a shido match.
I think a lot of the guys who watch it during the Olympics don't usually watch all the other international events. Maybe that's a possibility. And then when one person says it, they're like, "Oh yeah, now that's in your head and that's your perception." Now all of a sudden you're watching it from that
bias,
lens.
Right?
Yeah, there definitely is a lot more penalties now given, I feel like, than it was before. I'm not sure. I'm guessing. Yeah. It's also another perception thing of mine.
Yeah.
But with any sort of grappling sport, if you don't penalize the athletes for not doing stuff, they're not going to do anything. They're going to hold off, stall. There's going to be a good percentage of players that are always going to try to play the game with the forcing the penalties or playing the out of bounds area. It's a strategical thing. Think about it. If I'm going against someone who's a much better thrower than me, let's just say they're taller and I can't get close and they're better at gripping and they're trying to do... There are all these different things. Let's just say, for instance, they're good counters to like Uchimata or something like that because they have long legs and they know how to counter well. And then every single factor kind of matches up for me to be disadvantageous. What am I going to do? Lock up with him and try to throw him? No, I'm going to try to out-hustle him and try to force penalties on the guy. And then maybe in the meantime, he steps out of bounds a few times.
Yeah.
I'm up 2 penalties. He's getting a little bit tired. He gets sloppy. He goes for a shitty attack. I put a little bit more pressure on the ground, and then he goes for a second shitty attack, and I win.
Yeah.
But if we did Randori for 20 minutes, maybe he'll throw me 6 times.
Yeah.
So it's like a good strategical thing to be able to do. I don't think I think it's impossible to kind of like not have any penalties because then it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be exciting. There's a fine line of like having the penalties, not having any penalties, and then I think 1 out of 5 matches decided on shidos. I mean, is that bad? Maybe it should be 1 out of 10. Maybe that's the metric that they should strive for. I don't know
if that's a lot of times if you have a number like that, even you end up optimizing for the wrong thing because there's no who is to say 1 out of 10 is the right number?
what is it? Optimization of outcome or something like that. 5% of Princeton has to be of a certain demographic.
So what?
No, never mind.
But I think you see that a lot. I mean, in my line of work, like in AI, for example, like you have a data set and then everyone uses it as a benchmark and then say, oh, everyone tries to hit like a higher and higher number. And then what happens is all the models are become so specialized for that data set instead of, and then the data set itself is not the best. It may not represent the reality, right?
Yeah.
The same thing with the judo match. Sure, like it may not, like a competition match may not be most representative of what judo is.
Yeah.
You could make a case like that, and that's what's happening. All these athletes are really like, sure, like ideally we would want everyone to just throw each other for ippons.
Yeah.
But the reality is that it's pretty impossible. Like these guys are so evenly matched.
Yeah, they're all really good.
They're like phenomenal athletes, and I'll tell you, even the ones you guys complain about, like I don't know, like some guy wins by shido all the time.
Yeah.
They will, if you go rando with them, they will rip your head up.
And let me tell you something. You're not watching the first 2-3 rounds. Majority of the guys are watching the final block. And the closer you get to the final block, the more evenly they are. And not only are they evenly matched, they know each other. They fought each other 6, 7, 9 times in competition multiple times. They studied each other. Of course, it's I'm going against Abe. I fought him 4 times or whatever it is. He's going to go for Sode. I got to watch out for it. You're going to drop your elbows and get your hips back. You know what I mean? I'm going to make sure that whenever he goes for Sode, I try to force a penalty, and then from there try to work the clock, do newaza. Maybe he steps out of bounds. I force a penalty there. You know what I mean? Like, you have to play that game a little bit because...
So, Dr. Serenage actually had statistics about that. Like, you would think that... my perception was that in the prelim rounds, you'll have more throws.
Yeah.
But the third shido... out of all the third shidos that happened, 82% of them were in prelim. And the final blocks was only 18%. So most of the shido batch, the third shidos happened in the prelims, which is different from what our perception is.
Let me, try to give you a couple of reasons why that may be. One, the referees are a lot more
lenient.
Right? Lenient, right? There's leniency of the referee. Especially as the tournament gets along, more eyes are on the final block, etc. So that's one idea. 2, the more uneven the matchups are, the more defensive one plays. Then the other person who's more skilled is capable of forcing those penalties. What we need to do is have a regression analysis, I think, and have many different factors and see which ones really kind of, you know what I mean? Like how many pawns in the preliminary rounds, how many more Hansoku in the prelims, and then the referee. And I don't know how to do any of this stuff. I'm just talking out of my butt here. But.
So your second explanation that the better athletes, judokas, are better at forcing the shido, which is true. He had, Dr. Serenage had that stats too. So when third shido happens... We should get him on the podcast. I know. Like, I want to talk... Dr. Serenage, if you are listening to this, please contact us and we can talk to you about this.
If anyone knows who he is, tag him in the thing below.
Or she is. We don't know who this person is.
She. It could be a she.
Yeah. Whoever it may be, we would love to talk to you. But then, so when the third shido happens, 71% of the time, the higher ranked athlete won. Which is consistent with what your explanation is.
Interesting.
So there's not. It was hard. Yeah, like people may like. So 30%, 29% of the time, the lower ranked player kind of had play that game that you just described, and they eventually beat the supposedly higher seeded athlete. And then just because you're higher ranked, I'm guessing they went by the IJF ranking, maybe.
Probably, 100%.
Well, anyway, so. That's like a little bit of interesting stats.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Intrigued.
But so all in all, my take is that the frequency of shido is not. I think a lot of times a lot of people who are not regular judo watchers are watching the Olympics and then realizing that a lot of the matches, more matches than they expected, are determined by shidos.
Yeah.
Maybe they were expecting like 1 out of 10 matches, when in reality it's like the double that. But
regardless, I think every Olympic cycle they re-examine the rules.
Yeah.
And me being an IJF insider, I've seen sort of the symposium style discussions that they have after every competition. They look at the statistics, they look at the data, they have conversations about it, and all the people who are on the IJF circuit as referees, they're some of the most knowledgeable people I've ever met when it comes to like these judo rules and stuff. So I think we're in the good hands for them to actually sit back and analyze all this stuff and then try to move judo forward in a positive directions, because they're not sitting around talking about how can we do judo harm. They're trying to make this thing better. And call me corporate man or whatever it is, whatever you want to call me. But if you haven't been in that room, you haven't been in that room, really. You know what I mean? And I was humbled because I was walking in there like, oh, I know everything, and then they're quizzing me about stuff, and I'm like, oh boy, like I don't really know the answer to some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So I think we just kind of got to look forward and see what rule changes they make and how it's going to affect the next quad. And I think grappling, there's always, look at freestyle wrestling, look at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. They're all of them. Every single grappling artist still tinkering around with the rules, tinkering around with different things. You know what I mean? Like it's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah. So and then there's no like, why would they try to, I don't know, like make judo worse? I guess. Yeah. Maybe whatever that means, making judo worse. But either way, I think I'm excited for the new changes. Maybe hopefully it'll be more exciting. But all in all, the Olympics, I thought it was very exciting. There was a lot of drama that we talked about. And it's great to see these phenomenal athletes compete with each other. All in all, it was a great experience. How about you? What are your overall thoughts?
I loved it. It was very exciting. I love that. I think NBC streaming Peacock thing was not that good, but I can't do anything about the NBC or the Peacock. I just know that Judo TV does a great job. I think maybe they should pay for licensing rights next time to be able to stream for us to stream it. But I don't even know if that's in the wheelhouse, if that's in the scope of something that NBC will do.
I don't know if there's any incentive for them to do that. But we'll see. Yeah.
Money, but
Yeah, well, exactly. Like.
They might want give us $100 million for the rest of streaming judo. You know what I mean? And they're not going to make that money back. So I think there is a number. I think would it be worth But what I would like to see is to be able to watch judo on judotv.com. Using discount code Shintaro. The interface is
it's
great.
So
I want to be able to click through the matches. That's the number one thing I love about Judo TV.
Yeah.
I could go back and watch anybody's match. Right? And I don't have to sit through a 9-minute barn burner. I could just be like, oh, he scored a Wazari, at the 3-minute-and-a-half mark. Click that. Bang, happens. Yeah. Okay? Oh, 2 shidos were giving, 2 minutes in the goal score. Watch those. What were they? Okay, that was definitely a drop attack, fake attack. Okay, he stepped out of bounds. Okay, that's legit. Yeah. Okay, what happens next? This guy slams the other guy 9 minutes in. Let's go to that. Beautiful title. All right, let's see what happened in the next match.
Yeah.
So you could just pick and choose your favorites and just watch it's just like the interface is 10 times better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you could hear me commentate. I'm going to the Cadet Worlds in Peru next week. So you guys check that out.
Woo. All right.
Yeah. And then thank you to our sponsors. Who do we have now, Peter?
Levon, Jason, Joe still.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much.
Levon, James, and Joe, thank you for your support.
Yeah.
Next one.
Yep. That's right. So thanks for listening, guys. And then
thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Yep. So.